There are crowns raised by force and crowns held up by fear. The lion reigns through the roar, through the myth, through the image that crosses continents. But in southern and eastern Africa, there exists an adversary that does not bow its head, does not accept decrees, and above all, never forgets. The African buffalo, the true Cape buffalo of the plains, the massive muscle and temper that many call Black Death. In Duba Plains, in the Okavango Delta, lions learn to hunt almost exclusively buffalo in broad daylight. In Savuti, in the Chobe, drought corners herds into shallow pools and turns every sip of water into a duel. In the Luangwa, in Zambia, rivers with steep banks become traps. In Kruger, night is the stage for ambushes where the ground trembles. It is in these landscapes that a dangerous question takes shape. When a buffalo loses a calf, what is born inside it? Fear or vengeance? Leave a like and subscribe. It's free and it helps us enormously. Now let's get into the video. The African buffalo is a bovine-looking herbivore that denies any notion of delicacy. An adult bull can weigh over 700 kilograms. Some, in resource-rich areas, get close to 900 kilograms. The horns fuse at the base, forming a helmet that protects, but also attacks. That bony crown is capable of deflecting teeth, tearing muscle, and impaling predators. The buffalo's intelligence lies in memory. Hidden water paths, the smell of lion in specific thickets, the exact duration of a safe crossing, and above all, vivid memories of the night when something was torn from the center of the herd. In the dry season, in Savuti for example, the ground opens into cracks and the air seems to vibrate. A herd of 400 animals walks in single file, raising a veil of dust. At the center, a trembling ring of bodies protects the newborns. On the flanks, experienced females set the pace. At the front, the bulls test the wind. In silence, just a few meters away, a group of lions watches, maybe 4, maybe 6. Numbers that matter less than the synchrony. They work with geography, with angles. They know they need to find the gap. That's where they cut the herd in two. The lionesses accelerate. The herd explodes like a wave. A calf slips. The defensive circle breaks for a second. The attack is fast, the ground turns to dust, and when the cloud settles, a big cat is on top of the little one, and the herd retreats a few meters, confused. The oldest bull at the front stops, shakes his head, foams at the mouth. Another bull comes to stand beside him, and what happens next defies the legend that herbivores are only victims. They don't flee. It's not blind impulse, it's method. The first bull charges in a straight line, picks out the most isolated member of the lion group, and doesn't aim for the body, he aims for the legs, the spot that disarms any big cat. The second bull arrives like a hammer a second later, takes the same target by the side, and throws it into the air. The lions retreat, and what was going to be a feast turns into a retreat. Sometimes the calf gets up, staggers, and returns to the family. Sometimes it's already too late for her. Other times the lions drag the body away, and the buffalo come back and beat one of the cats until the score is settled. As the old saying used to go, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. This is where many guides, rangers, and researchers who have already seen too many nights on this plain reach for a word that we humans understand right away: vengeance. Science hedges the term. There is no tribunal, no morality in the wild world. There is memory, there are hormones released into the bloodstream, there is social learning. In herds where lions took a calf the week before, the probability of fierce counterattacks rises. In areas where coalitions spend months pressuring them, the buffalo don't just toughen up, they adopt tactics, tighter columns, zigzag flanks, sudden stops to regroup the young, and above all, active pursuit when they have the mass, horn, cohesion, and courage in their favor. From this is born the only savanna herbivore that, on certain nights, hunts lions, not to devour them, but to take revenge. Vengeance, the word is heavy, but there are clear records. In Kruger, along the Sabi River, a herd was seen chasing 2 exhausted males for nearly a kilometer. In Duba Plains, in the high water years, when the lions specialized in buffalo, the tables turned with interest. After many losses, a herd cornered a bull on a grassy island and finished him off in under 3 minutes. In Zambia, lionesses have already been recorded fleeing from furious buffalo that had lost adult members of their herd. They didn't execute them only because they managed to escape. In the Okavango Delta, water adds another rule. Water at knee height changes the equation for lions. Long chases tire out the prey less. Visibility drops, the terrain hides sinkholes. Hunting lionesses learn to move with the handbrake on, saving energy, attacking in cohesive groups, ignoring other prey to target buffalo even at midday. And the buffalo answered where it hurts most, in the group. Full-on buffalo charges against groups of lions. There are reports of buffalo chasing lions until forcing them to leap into the water and cross channels under threat of crocodiles. It's the savanna handing down a strange verdict. Whoever attacks too much becomes prey to the counterattack. The biological side isn't spectacle, it's mechanism. What's called the boss, that helmet of fused horn, isn't ornamental. It protects the skull from head-butting clashes between males and functions as a weapon against predators. The musculature of the neck and shoulder is built for pushing, tearing up tough grass, overcoming the weight of mud, and by an accident of evolution, it also serves to disarm big cats. The herd's coordination comes from almost invisible signals. A raised tail, a lowered head pointing in a direction, a short snap of a hoof, all very subtle, but all very furious. Some say buffalo are unpredictable. They're not. In reality, they are reactive with extreme efficiency. It doesn't take much to trigger an energetic attack. They respond fast. Study the nights when they attack lions and you'll find patterns. Known territory. Short distance to water and escape routes. Enough bulls nearby. Tired opponents. Add to that an emotional trigger, of course. A calf just wounded. A female torn out of the circle. An old buffalo who already carries claw marks on his face, and since then can't tolerate feline silhouettes within 50 paces. What we call unpredictability is really memory that has overflowed the bucket. In Kruger, a story keeps repeating itself in the camps along the Olifants River. A herd was crossing shallow water when two young bulls were cut off by lionesses. The cats did everything right, using the bank as a funnel. The attack worked for a few seconds. The rest of the herd stopped in the middle of the river, turned around, and charged toward the cries of the captured prey. The lionesses pulled back too late, and their remains were dragged for kilometers. You've surely heard that the lion is king. On the savanna's map of respect, the buffalo draws a border that Crown doesn't cross without paying a toll, and the price rises when a coalition of lions forms or when a group grows. There's a paradox. Larger groups have more success bringing down buffalo, but the trail of wounded they leave behind draws the counterattack. And that's exactly why lions that hunt mostly buffalo become legendary, because in terms of strength, buffalo outmatch big cats by far. The savanna keeps its own ledger. In years of prolonged drought in Savuti, when lions learned to bring down young elephants, buffalo took advantage of the shift in focus and increased their defensive drive. In years of abundance on the Duba Plains, when lions fattened themselves at the buffalo's expense, herds developed offensive responses that had once been rare. What we call vengeance is often a learning curve driven by pain, with long memory, and out of every defeat, a tougher buffalo is born. There are videos, photos, and field reports that confirm what the rangers keep repeating. Once a buffalo sees a lion in a vulnerable position, it doesn't waste the opportunity. It doesn't hunt for meat to eat. It hunts the danger, to erase the chance of a future attack on its herd. Whoever lives by measuring strength cannot afford to be wrong. Lions calculate the risk. In open landscapes with low grass, they attack more. In dense thickets and rough terrain, they hold back. In darkness with no moon, they gain the advantage. At midday, with the heat in full force, they lose their wind. The buffalo, for its part, carries two almost unfair advantages: numbers and nerve. Numbers to close the distance, nerve to advance when it would be more sensible to retreat. That temperament isn't romanticism, it's strategy embedded in its DNA. Those who stayed and fought left behind more offspring than those who fled. The gene for boldness isn't poetry, it's savanna mathematics. One night in the southern Serengeti, a scene that cements reputations. Two lionesses isolate a female buffalo, and her fall seems inevitable. Other buffalo tear through the darkness, nostrils flared and eyes shining with rage. The first knocks down a lioness. The second targets the male that approached to close in for the kill and takes him by the flank, lifting 1.5 meters of flesh and mane into the air. The lions flee, two of them limping. The herd regroups and the savanna breathes. The female buffalo, despite being wounded, is safe and survives. Vengeance. Call it what you want. For the lion, the message was clear. Tonight there's no dinner. This is where the myth of the king meets the edge of the crown. The lion's monarchy was never absolute. It was always negotiated every evening with hyenas, wild dogs, leopards, rhinos, and above all, buffalo. And among all the rebellious subjects, none brought down as many kings as the buffalo. It's estimated that among all the animals of the savanna, it's the one that kills the most adult lions. Some die as a result of horn wounds that puncture the lungs. Some succumb hours later to internal bleeding, or days later to infections from their wounds. And why does it matter? Because without lions, herds grow too large. Without buffalo, lions attack more livestock at the edges of the parks. Without balance, the whole savanna pays the price. It's an old war with a daily truce. At the end of the dry season, the board changes again. The first heavy clouds gather to the west. The smell of wet earth reaches us. Promises of rain that keep being delayed. The lions grow leaner and more impatient. The buffalo dig and cross old riverbeds, looking for water. Any mistake now costs more. A calf that falls out of step becomes an invitation that opportunistic cats won't turn down. When the rain finally arrives, lightning bursts under heavy clouds. The buffalo drink as if swallowing a whole year of fear. And that night, after the first downpour, the lions try again, because hunger doesn't follow a calendar. It's the night when an old Dagaboy, the buffalo marked by an old attacker's claws, decides to pay back with compound interest. He finds the coalition. 2 cats are sent flying. One escapes, the other falls. The old buffalo doesn't celebrate victory. He finishes the job. The savanna doesn't applaud. It keeps the record. To some, all of this is cruelty. To nature, it's a calibrated response. The buffalo's relentless fury doesn't come from a moral void. It comes from losses the species cannot tolerate. Lions hunt buffalo because they need to. Buffalo hunt lions because they've learned that letting go doesn't reduce the risk, it increases it. Vengeance is a human word for a biological algorithm. Reduce the threat to the point where it thinks twice before coming back. And in the final balance, the winner is equilibrium. The bold coalitions keep existing, but they calculate. The herds keep giving birth, but they stay watchful. The savanna continues because its agreements are written in mud and blood, not on parchment. It's along these lines, from the Okavango to Savuti, from Kruger to the Luangwa, where the buffalo writes. Night after night, the most dangerous fable a herbivore has ever told, that of the animal that hunts lions. Because someone dared to touch its calf, and the savanna remembers. Leave a like, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. See you next time.